Hey there, fellow YouTubers and Muslims and Christians alike and everybody. Um, I like this guy. This guy's good. He seems, pretty down to earth for real. Uh, Awesome presenter, I think you have to say. But anyway, the whole purpose of this video clip is basically just to ask you guys, Muslims, mainly a few questions and present what I believe is a uh, proper case with regards to Islam and religion and the truth of the matter. Okay, I've been basically posting a lot of blogs about Islam. Like, you guys say there's no compulsion in Islam, yet in the Quran it says you got to tax the unbelievers. It says don't make friends with Jews or Christians. Uh, I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense, and there's no New Testament, Old Testament in the Quran, so it's got to apply now, it's got to apply tomorrow, it's got to apply every day, sort of thing. I mean, how does that figure? And there's no compulsion in religion. And I mean, bearing in mind this was all written within a 20-year period, how can you say no compulsion in religion and then go and tax the unbelievers? I mean, right there's a theoretical error. Also, I've been hearing some stuff about scientific evidence like a crack in the moon. Muhammad, he basically split the moon in half as a sign to the infidels who challenged him and the power of God. So he did that so that they would believe back in his day. Now today, and then NASA went and found a crack halfway across the moon, sort of thing. But that's a fault line anyway. It's not a full crack, but nonetheless. How would these infidels, without any telescopes, because today our most powerful land-based telescopes, we can't see this crack. Now, how can the Muslims say that this is scientific evidence when the infidels back in Muhammad's day never would have been able to see this crack? So you get what I mean? But anyway, weak for scientific evidence in any case, that argument. So then you got historically, the Quran talks about the crucifixion of people in the days of Egypt. We're talking about Pharaoh saying he's going to crucify people. But there's no record of crucifixes in the day of Egypt. In all the entire thing there that we've got, hieroglyphs and all that, there's no crucifixes going on. Absolutely none whatsoever. Not from wars, not historically. No one has a record of old Egypt and the pharaohs crucifying anybody. So historically, the Quran's just wrong. Let's look at Exodus, which apparently Allah told Muhammad to write this in the Quran, and I don't think Allah did, because in the Exodus it says that the Hebrews, or in the Quran, sorry, the Quran's version of the Exodus, it says that the Hebrew people were tempted when Moses was on Mount Sinai. It says the Hebrew people were tempted and did build the golden calf as a god, and they worshipped it. And that the tempter was a Samaritan. The Samaritan actually made them build the golden calf. But Samaritans or Samaria as a nation never existed until many hundreds of years later in history. And even today, the Samaritans will tell you that themselves. I mean, I don't know what sort of historical finds. This is clearly false prophecy or false information from Allah in your Quran. I mean, what you guys got to say about that? This is not me. I'm not, putting in lies in there, but it's true. It's in there, and it's not correct historically. What's going on, man? Okay, and let's have a look at some spiritual truths. Muhammad wants to align himself with Allah, or aka the God or Jehovah of the Jews and the Christians. Now, one thing we got to bear in mind is that the Muslims have their holiday is Friday. They're allowed to classify clean animals such as camels and octopuses and unscaled fish. They can eat all that, right? It's classified as clean. Also, the maximum penalty for theft, maximum applicable penalty that is for theft, is the chopping off of the hand. I mean, this totally contradicts the law of Moses, which, by the way, is harsher than the law of Jesus, the New Testament law. And I mean, it was the law that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai, man. We're talking, this is the law. But on the Ten Commandments, man, God himself wrote it with his finger. He said, you will not work on the Sabbath day. You had to rest, and there's a day to be set aside for the Lord your God. Well, what is the Sabbath day? I mean, every nation in the world knows this one. Even the Qumran scrolls dated 2,000 years ago can validate this. It was Friday night or Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. This is the Sabbath day, not Friday, man. Friday's got nothing to do with it. It's unscaled fish and camels. They're unclean animals in the Old Testament, but the Quran doesn't say that. You know what? It's not the same God, man. You guys aren't following the same God here in this regard. In the Old Testament it says if someone steals from you, they are to be made to pay back that which they have stolen from you, perhaps even fivefold. Never would it allow the chopping off of a hand for something that is stolen. This is the law which God gave to Moses, not just Moses sat there and thought about it. How can you say it's the same Allah, man? You get what I'm saying, guys? I mean, I like the purity and whatever in Islam, but listen to what I'm saying, you know? So, you know, it's just scientifically and historically the Quran is just wrong, and I don't see a point in following a book that's wrong. I mean, quite frankly, all I need to know is to love my neighbor, man. That's all I need to know. I don't need to have a Quran sit there and tell me all these contradictions about history and then whatever. In my opinion, the Quran and Islam is in fact just a cult of Muhammad. It's basically a cult because they disregard history, solid evidence, and whatever else in order that they may satisfy themselves. I mean, I would seriously like somebody to post a video reply to me or something else. I don't see a point in following such things. I'm not a sheep. I don't believe man needs religion. I believe the only reason that I need religion is because a religion should in fact be based on the truth. So what I'm saying is that man does need the truth. And no, he doesn't need make-believe fables and fairy tales though. You know, I believe that being truthful is the right way to live, and obviously Muhammad and the Quran were not being truthful with regards to statements made about history and science. So yeah, I don't know how Muhammad apparently compiled his Quran in a 20-year period. Now there's one guy over 20 years. Now I'm no expert, but given 20 years I could rewrite the Bible and chuck out every contradiction there is quite easily, and then add a few of my own bits and pieces in, which is what Muhammad did, but back in his day he had no idea he was going to contradict later findings in history and science, which is unfortunate for him, sort of, I guess. I don't know, there's good precepts in every religion, but if you're going to say that it is the only book of God, you're dead wrong, man. You're dead wrong. And, I like you, man, you, the poster of that video, who hijacked my religion. You seem like a top bloke, man. And I hate George Bush, man. I know he's unjust. I know he's fighting dirty wars. And I like Ahmadinejad. I think he's a top bloke. Why? Because he's Muslim, or he says he's Muslim, but he sat there and he hasn't hurt nobody. So as a person, I like him. Okay, so don't get me wrong, guys. This does not extend to political arenas and whatever, but I'm just talking about as far as religion. It just doesn't make sense. It just does not cut it as the truth. Okay, so please let me know what you guys think about that. Peace, and yeah, study hard, I guess, and see how you get to the conclusions that you get to. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you later.